Hey guys, how's it going? Danconia here. Welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020. So, it's going to be a very, very big year for the Overwatch League. I think, honestly, it is going to be the most crucial year in the history of the Overwatch League. And I don't just mean that in terms of the 3 years we would have had. I mean ever. This could be the most pivotal year for the Overwatch League, for a variety of reasons. Now, in the off-season, we've seen a big overturn of players at a lot of teams. This is going to really shake up the way the league, I think, pans out for a lot of people. Also, in recent days, we've seen an overturn in casting and desk talent as well, with Puckett saying that he will not be reprising his role for the 2020 season as the host, and also MonteCristo saying that he will not be reprising his role as caster either. Also, Doa's contract has run out, but he hasn't confirmed that he is re-signed yet, so we could be losing Doa as well. There is a lot of changes going on at the Overwatch League, and obviously the big elephant in the room is the Homestand Format. So there is a lot of changes coming to the Overwatch League this season, and it will be pivotal for its future success. Now, the ultimate aim for the Overwatch League has always been to have home and away games. It's very difficult in a international format competition for that to happen because of the travelling involved. This is why we are seeing a lot of Overwatch League teams go for much bigger rosters than perhaps previously seen. We saw that London Spitfire signed a 12-man roster in the inaugural season. It didn't work all that well, did it? Yes, they won the league, but they ended up slimming down the roster to about 7. But we're seeing a lot of teams snap up 12-man rosters now. And the reason for that is because I believe player rotation is going to make a much, much bigger difference in this coming season than it has done before, simply due to player fatigue, due to high amounts of travelling. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this is implemented. Obviously, with the countless homestands that are going to be happening across the world, it's going to be a massive logistical and technical feat to make sure this goes without a hitch. So I think one thing we can expect is technical difficulties, I would not be surprised, and logistical difficulties for the Overwatch League in 2020. Remember going back to the Overwatch World Cup a couple of years ago when Team China couldn't take half of their players to the World Cup because they couldn't get visas to enter America? Problems like that could surface, and it would be highly unfortunate if this was to affect the league this year. Again, I would hope the Overwatch League and Blizzard have looked into this and made sure that nothing will happen. But it's all about preparation for these things, and I'm sure that they've sorted that out. But expect some logistical and technical issues with this year's league, because it's doing what has never been done before. Let's be honest. And there's a lot of learning to be done in order to make it as perfect as it possibly can be. We've been, kind of spoiled over the past 2 years with it being in LA. It's gone with mostly not too many problems, let's be honest. But remember the power cut at the Dallas homestand? That kind of took the lights out for a long time, and we had no stream and anything? Things like that could happen, and it's out of Blizzard and the Overwatch League's control sometimes. So we could see teething problems like that with the Homestand format. Obviously, the Homestand format is not where it needs to be though, because the problem with the Homestand format of the 2020 season is the fact that nowhere has their own ground, their own facilities, their own stadium. The best example of this is the Philadelphia Fusion, who are building their own esports arena, the Fusion Arena, in Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Fusion. That's not going to be ready this year, that's going to be ready next year. That is an example of the end goal. People want to have their own grounds, and why do they want that? It's because when you give it to, say, arenas to put on, say, London have got Wembley Arena, and you give it out to these people, that you make so much less money, because basically the arenas and the event organisers are making that money, and you're getting little return from it. when these teams are able to play in their home grounds, like the Philadelphia Fusion will be able to in 2021, they will be able to make the revenue themselves. They will be able to put on the show themselves, and all the money will come back to them, which then can be reinvested into the Philadelphia Fusion, into perhaps the Fusion University and contenders as well, and it makes the whole show run smoother, and the whole economics of it run much smoother, and you will see much more benefit from a homestand format like that, or a home and away format like that, once that happens. But the problem is, the logistics and the proof that it's going to work need to happen before you can ever start pumping in millions and millions and millions into building somewhere for these things to happen. The Philadelphia Fusion have taken the risk of doing that already, but I'm sure that they can use that arena for other things if Philadelphia Fusion and the Overwatch League was to not succeed in the long term. Not saying that I don't want it to succeed. This is not an all doom and gloom thing. This is just me being realistic about the Overwatch League 2020 season. There is going to be a lot of stumbling blocks. The other thing, obviously, is the overturn in talent that it looks like we're getting with the Overwatch League this year. MonteCristo has been with Doa for years, so I personally wouldn't be surprised to see Doa go as well. And then we're going to need a new casting duo. We've got Jake who's come in. We might see Lemon Kiwi coming with Jake perhaps or something. Those two were together in the Overwatch World Cup, for example. We've seen Custer obviously join the analyst team. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with all this. I don't know how the desks are going to work in terms of this format, whether they are just going to fly all over the world and be where they need to be, because some weeks are going to have two places at once. So are you going to have two different sets of the desk going to the different locations, or are you going to have them centralized somewhere and then have feeds coming in from the arenas maybe? I don't know. I don't know how that will work. It would be nice to have that cleared up. Just like a month ago. You know, we're kind of a bit low on information right now. I'm hoping it's going to start flooding in quite soon. So there's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes and will this work and will that work with the Overwatch League 2020. And it will be very interesting, and ultimately it will be a proof of concept for Blizzard and the Overwatch League. Can this homestand format work? Can home and away games work? Can it be profitable for teams in the league to do this? Because if it isn't, they're not going to invest. And when they don't invest, the league will fail. But it could go the other way and be an absolute enormous success. And I really hope it is. Because if it is an enormous success, all of a sudden you will see a bunch of teams doing what Philadelphia are doing and start saying, right, this is worth pumping money into and building arenas for these teams to play at. Once those arenas are built and you're in those arenas, you're making more money. Once the Overwatch League makes more money, more teams will come in. Once the proof of concept works, you will see more teams come in and more big benefactors come in. All of a sudden, the Overwatch League grows at an exponential speed. So it has a knock-on effect, but this is the season. We've seen that the Overwatch League can work in a single setting. This is the season where the Overwatch League has to prove that its end goal will work. And if it proves it, then I think the Overwatch League will just exponentially grow from there on, especially with sponsorship and financial input. But it's got to prove it this year. That's the big thing. I've talked a lot about proving in the past few days. I did it with teams just a couple of days ago. But overall, the league has a lot to do this year and a lot to kind of prove the doubters wrong in, and just I hope it works. I really hope it works. This has been a vision for years now, and you're always going to get an overturn in talent. You're always going to get an overturn in players. I hope it all really all works out. Let's be honest, I do a lot of content around the Overwatch League. Where would I be without it? And I love the Overwatch League. I watch more Overwatch League than I actually play the game, let's be honest. Apart from at the moment when there is no Overwatch League. But I hope this season goes well, because if it does, it could be the biggest ever in the history of the Overwatch League, because it will be just this massive proof of concept that will spur the league on for years and years and years to come if it works. A big year is ahead for the Overwatch League. But I am going to leave it here for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.